Vancouver is often called Raincouver because of how much it rains during the winter. But today was one of those rare sunny days, so I decided to go out and take some photos. During winter, the days are short and the constant rain makes the city feel a little gray. But when the sun finally comes out, everything changes. Dogs start running around, people sit outside on patios, kids dance in the streets, and suddenly the whole city feels alive again. As I was walking down the street, I noticed a man eating in a restaurant. I actually walked past him at first, but the light looked so beautiful that I decided to turn back and take the photo. The color of the man's jacket caught my eye, so I took the photo. I like this shot because it's very clear what the main subject is. The big red crane against the blue sky created such a nice contrast that I couldn't resist taking the shot. It also worked almost like a frame within the image. The bus stop roof was creating a shadow that stretched diagonally into the distance, so I tried to capture the depth in the scene. But the bus stop pole ended up right in the center of the frame, so the balance of the photo feels a little off. The handrail on the bus naturally framed the boy. The light was also coming from behind him, which looked really beautiful. Since the bus was moving and shaking a bit, I increased the shutter speed to capture the shot. The bamboo leaves were gently rustling in the wind under the blue sky. During winter, the leaves usually wither and everything feels a bit empty. But today the leaves were fresh and green, and the warm breeze made it feel like spring was finally arriving. I noticed a mirror placed at the entrance of a house. I'm not really sure why it was there, but the mirror covered with ivy and the flowers reflected in it looked beautiful. I tried several times to focus on the flowers in the reflection and kept missing the focus. But in the end, I think I got a pretty nice shot. I saw a dog leaning forward in front of a butcher shop, clearly tempted by the smell of the meat. I have an English bulldog myself, so I know how strong their appetite can be. The owner was holding the dog between their legs while talking with the butcher, and the butcher kindly gave the dog a little piece. It was a small moment, but it made the scene feel really warm. It was nothing special at first glance, but a businessman in a suit waiting for the bus was having a friendly conversation with an elderly man. It's the kind of scene you almost never see in my hometown Tokyo. One thing I really like about Vancouver is that time feels a little slower here and people can casually chat with strangers like this. The goal of today's shoot was to capture light and shadow. At the intersection ahead, I noticed a beautiful mix of light and shade. So I waited for someone to walk out from behind the pillar and step into the light. When they did, their shadows stretched out, creating a really nice contrast with the light. The light reflected from a nearby window hit the red car in the mural, almost like a spotlight. The grid pattern of the light looked really unique, so I decided to take the photo. Next, I went into the station. While I was riding the escalator down to the platform, I found a man on the first floor through the gap between the handrails. The handrails and the sign created a natural frame, which helped draw attention to the man. Light coming through the window created a beautiful mix of light and shadow as someone stepped across it. I quickly raised the shutter speed so I wouldn't miss the moment. Moments like this make you wonder where that person is going, and that's part of what makes street photography so interesting. The front of the train was lit by sunlight while the platform was in shadow. Passengers were getting on and off the train, and the contrast looked really beautiful. The train was stopped for a while, so I tried a long exposure shot to turn the movement of people into streaks. I held my breath to keep the camera steady and avoid camera shake. A group of older men were chatting together on a cafe patio, almost like a little neighborhood gathering. They were all wearing hats and sunglasses, each holding their own tumbler. I wondered if they had some kind of dress code. Coffee, friends, dogs. What a lovely little moment. I spotted a man waiting for the bus reflected in a shop window, so I turned back and took the photo. Including the window frame helps make it clear that the scene is a reflection. In Canada, the McDonald's logo has a maple leaf from the Canadian flag in the center. I think it's a really cute detail. I wonder if McDonald's in other countries also include something unique from their national flag. The yellow and red of the McDonald's sign against the blue sky felt really fresh, almost like a symbol of spring. I made my way to Science World. It's right by the water with a cycling path and a walkway, and on a sunny day, it's one of the best spots in the city. You see all kinds of people here, runners, cyclists, people just wandering around, and parents playing with their kids. I found a street light with a round umbrella-shaped top. I photographed it again with the sky as the background. I think I just really like this kind of angle. It's simple, fresh, and minimal. I like how it removes all the unnecessary elements. I tried panning for the first time. At first, I shot at a shutter speed of 1/10, but every photo came out completely blurry. Then I changed the settings to 1/25 at f8, and I was able to keep the subject in focus and get some interesting shots. It's a nice path where you see people walking while listening to music or stopping to take photos. My eyes were drawn to two men resting on a bench. They probably didn't know each other, but the distance between them felt just right, a kind of quiet balance. Everyone seemed to be enjoying their own little moment of rest. A couple was standing by the water looking out at the ocean and talking. I started imagining what they might be saying. Maybe something like, "I wonder how much that house costs," or "Do you think you can rent that boat?" Or even, "It's getting warm, maybe we should get some ice cream." Of course, that's just my imagination. But one thing I certain is they were sharing a really nice moment together. In a small plaza lit by the evening sun, a man wearing a warm hat was sitting on a bench. Maybe he had just finished shopping and was taking a short break. When I lived in Tokyo, the pace of the city was much faster, and I was always focused on getting through my schedule. Moments like this feel like something special about Vancouver. On the Cambie Bridge, which is about a kilometer long, I noticed another natural spotlight of light, so I waited for someone to walk through it. A woman in a really nice outfit walked by, and I made sure not to miss the moment. I wondered if she was about to walk the entire bridge. By bus it would only take a few minutes, but on a beautiful day like this, maybe she just felt like walking. A group of people were waiting at the crosswalk. When the light turned green, they all started crossing at the same time, which made for an interesting scene. I raised the shutter speed and took the photo while walking so the image wouldn't blur. The focus landed on the woman in the center, and I think the composition leads your eye toward her while also showing the depth of the street. After crossing the street, I saw a dog lying down on the ground. It was already evening, so maybe he was just too tired to keep moving. The owner seemed to have given up and let the leash go. On a sunny day like this, it probably feels much better for a dog to lie outside in the sun than stay at home on a rainy day. I guess humans and dogs aren't so different after all. Today I spent the day photographing Vancouver on one of its rare sunny days. People were smiling and full of energy. As summer gets closer, I'm excited to capture the city becoming greener and more vibrant. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. It really motivates me to keep making videos.